Dying Light, it did something special. It really did. It took an overused genre that a lot of people were really tired of, which was zombies, and it used it to create a very fun and unique gameplay experience that you really can't find in any other game. At daytime, the whole map would be your personal playground, with the free running mechanics, the wall running, the fluidity of the movement. Traversing from place to place, it would always be a joy, and killing all those mindless zombies in a brutal way with very unique weapons and watching them lose limbs and heads, it was a very satisfying experience in its own way. You can set them on fire, punch them into traps, electrocute them, and then cover yourself up in their organs to blend in with them. Yeah, I'd say that Dying Light is one of the few single-player games that I can actually mess around with for a few hours and not get bored very fast. And then we have Nighttime, which is where the game turns from being a very easy, very fun playground to becoming an actual challenge, because not only is the game really dark at night, like if you don't use your flashlight you literally can't see anything except for a couple of things in the distance because of there's a campfire there or something. But at night you also have these advanced zombies, volatiles is what they're called, and they can free run just like you and can almost instantly kill you when they get a jump on you. So really you had two experiences with this game. One, you had a playground where you could just invite some friends and just mess around and just have a fun time messing up some zombies. And then the second experience is pretty much playing a horror game. Just going from place to place, you have to be quiet, make sure you're not spotted, otherwise you're dead. And this too is very fun with friends. It's like Slender, but then with friends, if you ever played that. The game wasn't perfect though. It attempted to do a serious storyline in the middle of all of this, but they didn't really succeed. The key characters, they were sort of cringy, cliche, over the top. They had some weird animations at times. I mean, what is that? What is he doing there? So yeah, I couldn't really take the game too serious. I always had to kind of laugh about how the characters would react to you and some of their animations and stuff. And then gameplay wise, I also remembered that the game itself became very, very easy once you unlocked the grappling hook. The grappling hook, it made you a lot faster. It allowed you to traverse up and down with infinitely more ease. You could just jump over very big obstacles with the grappling hook. It would not be an issue. And you could even use it to prevent any falling damage if you were to use it on a wall just before you would hit the ground. Now that's video game logic for you, I guess. But nevertheless, I really enjoyed my time with Dying Light. And I recognize the unique experience that it offered, despite some of the flaws. Now, since Dying Light, I've always played some other games to scratch that same itch. I'd say that Dishonored 1 and Dishonored 2, those games came a little bit close. I mean, you don't have zombies in those games, but you had a lot of mobility there as well, vertical mobility with the abilities. You had the stealth experience, or the experience of brutally murdering the enemies, depending on which way you wanted to go. But it still didn't really feel like Dying Light for me. Dishonored games were much more linear. They had levels instead of an open world. But the Dishonored games, they did have something that Dying Light never had, which was that the player choice and the way that the player did the missions, it all had an impact on the storyline. Depending on how you approached and completed missions, either the stealth way or the murder everything that you see way, you would get some very different endings, with stealth giving you the good ending. Unfortunately, because that's not the way that I went. And this is something that I thought was pretty cool, make your decisions and your gameplay style have an impact on the bigger picture. Games don't do that a whole lot, and I always appreciate it when I see it. Maybe that's also why I like The Witcher 3 so much, because I always felt that my dialogue choices, they had a real impact on the world. And you can probably see where I want to go with this conversation, because if you watched the Dying Light 2 reveal at the Microsoft conference, you would know that Dying Light 2 is going to take this character choice and the character impact to a whole new level. The developer on stage, he explained that throughout the campaign, the player is forced to make a good amount of choices, big choices, smaller choices, tiny choices, and all those choices, who he decides to cooperate with, who he decides to kill, in what ways he does everything, in what ways he completes missions, all those things will have an impact on the world, either more directly or something that you won't know about up until halfway into the story. You help one faction take control over the city, and that might be a very positive thing at first, but then the leader of that faction becomes basically the new Hitler and forces everybody to do these very specific things or they get executed. Or you don't help them out because you know they're going to be bad, but then the city is going to be more vulnerable to zombies and raiders, and then people are going to die to those. So That's just one example that they gave out, and I really like it when games do these sort of things. It isn't something that I've seen done yet properly in an open world game. Sure, we have Fallout where you can join different factions and you can get different endings depending on which faction you join, but you don't see the whole world changing around as drastically as that they showed off in these trailers for Dying Light. Now, what gives me the confidence that this will be a game that we can actually take serious this time around, unlike the first Dying Light, which, you know, you kind of just laugh it off whatever happened. But what gives me confidence is that Chris Avellone is working on the game as well together with Techland. Now, you may not know Chris Avellone, which is fine, but this guy was a big writer on the Fallout New Vegas game, which is still by many considered to be the best first-person Fallout game ever released. Now, I'm just saying, you know, if they can take the storytelling and the world building that Fallout New Vegas had, put that into Dying Light, and then combine that with the already very solid and fluid gameplay with wall running and just slashing zombies into a million pieces, I think we could have a really special experience here. The 4-player co-op is of course also coming back, which is pretty much a must for this game. This game is so much better with friends, although they did say that you join the game world of the host. So the decisions that you make with other players in that world, that's going to affect the role of the host. And if it works anything like in Dying Light 1, that means that you can join someone else, you get to keep all the loot and all the stuff that you find and all the upgrades that you get to take that with you to your world, but it will not save any progression towards your main missions, which is a bit of a bummer, I think, but that's also to be expected, I guess. I'm not sure how else they would go about this. And not much more was shown about this game. I reckon it's still quite a bit away until this releases, but it is a game that I'll be keeping my close eye on moving forward, and I think that, you know, if you're into these sort of games, so should you, which is why I made this video, to just let you know that, hey, Dying Light 2 is coming, it could be a pretty cool game. So yeah, that's really all for today. As always, I'll see you guys later, or like they say in the Netherlands, zie je later.